Hello and welcome to LedgerCast. Let's see if we can do this for real this time. My name's Brian Kreisgard, here with Josh Olsowich. Josh, how you doing?
Everybody missed the rug in the pre-show, the ruggening.
They might not have because it went live and then it went away and now it's back. It was live for 5 seconds. I've never had that problem with Restream.
It'll be in history forever,
Yeah.
When we're long gone, it'll be archived and
there you go.
What was that movie? There was a movie where it was the guy was a robot or like an AI, and he was like the library of humanity. We're gonna be in that, is what I'm trying to say.
Well, there's Ender's Game, Orson Scott Card's book, where there's like a computer that is sentient in that. But I know there's lots of these.
It's like the Time Machine. I think it's called the Time Machine. It's like
the Time
classic.
Machine. There's a bunch. There's several of these, but I would read one because I like these kinds of things. But
it's a great movie. I think it still holds up. I haven't seen it for years, but do recommend if you haven't seen it, the new Time Machine.
There you go.
Training gloves are not on, by the way, but they need to be because man, it is windy and cold and rainy over here. Let me tell you. I'll tell you what. Speaking of rainy and cold, though, these markets, man.
Yeah.
What is going on?
Well, it's just one of those things. It's just we have the beauty of failed pump attempt. I mean, look at that. Like, this is technical, Josh, isn't it? Like, look right into the floor of resistance. I mean, barely got anywhere. If you really are just playing level to level here, this is pathetic.
Again, I think we said this a couple weeks ago, but like other people have said this. I have no original thoughts. Everything I say is other people. You'd think we'd be lower, but if I told you at 60 that all this stuff happens this year, you'd say, oh no, we'd probably be lower, right?
Yeah.
I don't know. I'm shocked we're holding up as well as we are,
Well, even this, I don't think it's all because of us. The old Dixie, the old Dixie has 2 up days and everything just absolutely pukes everywhere. It's still in a downtrend, though. I will note that the dollar is still in a downtrend.
At the 105 level.
Mm-hmm. The kind of go sideways level, but legacy markets, you see this, the S&P,
just
4 days
brutality,
of just absolute pain. And you mentioned there's a record options expiry today, so
there is.
Maybe this is tied to that, and maybe will there be a Santa rally? I mean, I feel like it's a little late for a Santa rally. Like, it's getting late. Workshops got to go into overtime here.
It's the holidays. Nobody's in the office. People are on vacation. I don't know. Like, who's buying here, right? Who's buying anything here?
I don't know.
We've seen egg prices up like $1 bajillion. Is Joe Public buying digital assets right now other than that Trump NFT? No.
Other than that Trump NFT. Things that we say in 2022.
Unless you're an NFT enjoyer, I don't think you're dialed into the Trump NFTs.
Dude, the video, I could not figure out at first, was it a deep fake? Like, because somebody had just come out with this Morgan Freeman deep fake, and at first I was like, this can't be real. This is too stupid to be real.
Well, I saw the headline. I saw the Dune Analytics. I didn't realize it was like officially released from him.
Yeah, I mean, he was like, "I hope I'm your favorite president. Better than Lincoln. Better than Washington." I was like, "You've got to be better than Lincoln." What? Yes, he preserved the Union, especially on January 6th, 2022. Just absolute Union preservation mechanisms there.
Union preserver.
Come on, man. Yeah, as mentioned in the chat, crypto was bad when he was in office, but now that he can enjoy himself some 10% royalties and whatever it was.
That's the other thing about his crypto attitude. Like, I knew people in his administration who were very pro crypto. Like, I sat down with them. I had meals with these people when I was in DC. And I know like Jared Kushner is pro crypto, I think. But so it's weird for me to see him take that. I know Bannon obviously pro crypto.
It's almost as if he just spouted something out of his mouth.
Almost
didn't think about it. Anyway, I don't really want to talk about Donald Trump
that's
today,
enough Trump.
but for the record, for the people who are watching this in the archives, this is the week that Donald Trump released some really horrendous NFTs. And
that's
they
kind
sold
of
out.
you. You're the NFT aficionado. To me, it's just another JPEG, but to you, calling it horrendous, that's something.
It's pretty bad.
Anyway, yeah, markets. Look, it's the end of the year. We've been down all year. What's another week or two, right?
Yeah.
For those of you listening, Mr. Trump himself just appeared on the feed. Apparently, they're all like Photoshops, which is unsurprising, but
apparently they're like couldn't be any clearer as Photoshop.
I know. No, let me rephrase that. I know the images themselves are Photoshopped. I didn't realize they literally plucked all of the non-Trump faces, all of the the garb from other images. Super low quality, low effort stuff here. Anyway,
well, nevertheless,
is there anything going on that's like we can look forward to?
Is there anything going on that we can look forward to?
Well, here's where my head's at. Generally, I expect 2023 to be flat, unexciting. You're going to have recession. You're going to have earnings recession. You're going to have more inflation stuff. I expect inflation to come down below 5%.
I think demand destruction has been really severe already.
Oh, for sure.
And if
we're not seeing it everywhere, though.
If we enter a recession, I think we're already like a third or halfway through one. I think the demand destruction has been really, really severe, and we could hit a technical recession in 2023 that wouldn't surprise me. We'll make our predictions in a week or two whenever we do our next show before the end of the year. But yeah, I think
all the macro people are like, nope, we can't bottom until the Fed stops hiking. We can't fight the Fed, just like we couldn't fight the Fed, even as bad as things looked in 2019 when the Fed 2019, 2020, when the Fed started being dovish again or whatever, right? So I buy that. And everyone's like, well, this is the most obvious recession that everybody's priced in, and everybody, the worst kept secret. I don't know.
It is the worst kept secret, though. Like,
it still looks like a recession. They're still hiking into a recession. Like, how can they hike into a recession? How's that going to work out?
But when people say like the coming recession, the upcoming recession, like as if it's certainty,
it's here, isn't it? Like
that's my point. That like I don't think you say the upcoming recession. I think by the time people say, "Yeah, see, told you so," look at this recession. At that point, you're probably like capitulation away from a bottom as well, or like it doesn't affect asset prices in the way that you would think, and you end up having like the way stagflation hits asset prices, but maybe are flat and prices overall are up, but actual purchasing activity is down. Who knows? But yeah, I don't. People always think it's going to look just like the last one. It's easy to see. It's easy to know everything happening, and then that's never true. So this will have some quirks that we will understand much better after it's over and doesn't matter anymore. And we'll try to learn from them, and then we'll try to say like, oh yeah, this 2028 recession is going to be just like 2022 was, just like 2022 and 2023. It'll be the same, and it won't be the same then either. But yeah, I don't
matters is because we're just so tied to legacy,
Yeah, from a crypto perspective.
But yeah, the only reason I care about any of that stuff, obviously, because we live in the United States and that matters to us, cost of living wise. But
yeah, when I just look at like the S&P, to me, this feels like a very whatever kind of drawdown after a big bounce up. But at the same time saying like, okay, yeah, this trend is basically unchanged. That's all I really see here. It's not anything special. Still within this tolerance. Remember when we drew all this out? Just who knows? It could be
200-week held so far. This could pan out to be a massive inverted head and shoulders on like a multi-month time frame, right? On the S&P there. It's just, we live this stuff every minute of every day, and it's going to take a lot of time.
Yeah. Maybe
Q2, I think, is honestly our best chance crypto-wise.
here's another thing that could happen, like, right? You just take the consolidation and kind of adjust it, like, but it's gonna happen somewhere.
Just
Like,
move the diagonal. Yeah, there you go.
yeah, just whatever. This is the same thing. Economically, this result and the previous doesn't really change anybody's life very much. It's just numbers on the screen. Um, but where people are a little less excited. Now, what I personally don't think we're gonna have is just this minus. I mean, what would it even take? If we did like match the COVID lows, that'd be minus 60% overall. It's possible, but that's not really what I personally anticipate for the S&P in 2023, because I think we've already seen a lot of the price failure happen on the junky stuff. And you see the relative strength because there are some things that are performing fairly well in this environment. And those things are keeping the indexes a little higher. But anyway, again, not a predictions episode, but something we can keep in mind.
I just don't know who's bullish on 2023 for anything, you know?
Yeah, I'm bullish on 2023 relative to 2022. I feel like I'll be more
Oh, for
prepared.
sure. Yeah, I'll be happy
I'll
just
be,
to close flat.
I'll be more prepared, but like I don't know that I'm seeking like an up only environment in 2023.
No, and that's why, again, we talked about this 2 weeks ago, I think, but like ETH BTC has a chance pre-BTC having pre-Shanghai to do well, assuming everything doesn't tank. We're potentially lowering rates into BTC having in 2024. Like that's where my head's at. For me, 2023 is just like whatever, anything could happen. But I'm all about that 2024.
Yeah,
happening at this point.
which lines up on this chart too, right? Of the S&P. We're not even talking about crypto. So,
yes.
From a crypto perspective, I drew this. I haven't taken this off because it hasn't been broken. We tried to sneak out, but when you get down to the brass tacks of it, we fell right back into this quasi consolidation range.
I mean, we were about to, and then FTX blew up.
Right. But I mean, even this. I mean, even this.
There's always something. There's always something, Ryan.
Even this week, it would be interesting to me if we like super capitulated over the holiday. I guess that's possible. Like if the regular market keeps going down towards the bottom of that range we were talking about, what if the holiday and into 2022 that could mark a proper bottom, right? If you just hit this nasty low at the end of the year, go hit 10, 11, 12K Bitcoin. CM in the market's asking, when is Barry going to blankety blank the market? It's an open question, right? What the heck is going to happen with Genesis, DCG, etc.? There's lots and lots to talk about. Imminent bankruptcy filings for Genesis, but apparently,
I'm kind of surprised. Okay, I'm surprised the Winklevi haven't stepped in and said, "Look, we're gonna make the Gemini Earn program whole in some way." I don't think they have $1 billion to do that, but like having this go on and on is not a good look for them as an exchange.
Yeah. You're talking about Gemini. I'm talking about Genesis.
Well, they're one and the same, right? Genesis owes Gemini through the Gemini Earn program.
Their liabilities are similar.
Yeah.
But Gemini Earn is using Genesis. But even if Gemini Earn was made whole, I don't think it makes Genesis whole. I think Genesis's liabilities are larger.
Yes,
and
that's
the problem.
Correct.
The problem, though, is in a Chapter 11 whatever restructuring. The idea, if I understand correctly, is like you're trying to get as much per dollar for the people who are owed it as possible. So if they're completely wrecked and it's not a restructuring can fix this type of situation, then you end up with pennies on the dollar. It's not that helpful. So avoiding that form of bankruptcy, I guess, is part of the goal. But
Price Discovery asks about the other thing I was thinking about the other day, which was the Gox coins, which in the grand scheme of things, 162,000 coins. That's really not that much. Like it's a decent chunk, but they still are in the wallets. I haven't heard much about the distribution. I honestly thought it was going to happen this year, but Maybe 2025, guys. I don't know.
No, there's information out about that. We interviewed Carpelli's on Up Only, and he talked about it. Go watch that episode. It's actually a really good episode. But there's they're very close to the end of that process.
I'm just shocked it took this long.
Yeah, it did take a long time.
Just craziness. Like, if that took this long, how long is FTX gonna take? Are we gonna am I gonna be on my deathbed when I'm whenever years old and they still haven't unraveled it all? Right? Like,
it's gonna be a while. I did see apparently FTX lawyers, which I presume that means people who work for John Ray now.
JJR, as he's known.
Yeah.
If we could say SBF, we could say JJR.
JJR.
Yeah.
They were trying to advocate for being able to sell off solvent assets. So FTX Japan and some other stuff where they think, like, some of the things I think that FTX US had acquired in the previous couple of years that actually carry real market value, to be able to help in these proceedings. What I wonder is if they would actually benefit from waiting longer until there's more demand for those types of products. But because right now, like, who's your buyer even of healthy assets? So
I don't think you have a choice when you're liquidating, right?
Right. That's what. Yeah. So it's just, but that's still not just. It's just going to be worse for creditors who are trying to seek pennies on the dollar, dimes on the dollar, whatever they think they can achieve. Just makes it harder. But yeah, that's some of the news that's coming out of that. And then I don't know.
Binance, which
honestly,
I don't even know what's going on there other than.
Well, okay, so a couple things happened. One is one of the audit firms that had audited, was it Binance, Crypto.com, KuCoin?
Well, it's not an audit, first of all, but go ahead.
Well, they had done some work of.
They put their name on a piece of paper that said they looked at assets. Yes, but it's not an audit.
Well, they deleted those things and like basically said, we're not doing that now anymore. Or maybe actually Armorino or whatever that one was, the FTX US auditor, they just said we're closing our crypto audit practice. And this other auditor, I don't have the name on my top of my head right now, they apparently just kind of deleted all their stuff. I don't know what that means. CZ also, at a very minimum, CZ did bad public relations on a CNBC interview where he avoided answering questions about proof of reserves in a way that was sensible. So I understood what he was saying, like paying money back when it wasn't customer assets, but he could have just been much more clear than he was. So he was trying to answer a question about whether they could clawed back assets from the FTX bankruptcy. And he said that they're financially strong or something like that, but didn't specify. And then a lot of people took it, or maybe I'm misunderstanding, when he was talking about proof of reserves, and he kept talking about their financial strength, but he didn't just outright say, hey, if people want to withdraw any coin that they think they hold on Binance, they can just come and withdraw it, which that would settle it, right? Like, if you have this coin and it's on Binance, it actually is on Binance and you can come withdraw it. Basically saying there's not rehypothecation, there's not, any kind of other confusion with assets. I wonder if staked ETH is a reason why he can't outright say that. This is just me thinking live, Josh. Like, if Binance is staking a percentage of their ETH to earn yield, does that make it to where they cannot actually provide 100% of the ETH that customers think they have on the exchange?
Well, staking is available on Binance US, but not lending. Lending is available on Binance.com. So I think on Binance.com, they're certainly potentially running into more issues being like contagion adjacent or something, right? I agree with you though with the staked ETH stuff. Yeah, there's could be a duration mismatch. There could be all sorts of stuff that
that would be my personal guess that
Celsius ran into, right?
Yeah, a duration mismatch.
They were doing way more than that, but
yeah, that could exist, but that doesn't mean they don't have those funds. But somebody said they say that explicitly. But if they, let's see, can you withdraw your staked ETH on Binance? You can't on Kraken. Well, that's what you're saying. You're saying Kraken has said that explicitly, but I think they are staking it directly in ETH 2.0 stuff. So I think you are stuck until then, and you
Yeah, but
probably
if you give it
opted
to
into that.
if you give it to
Whereas,
Kraken, I know they tell you, look, you ain't getting this back until it's unlocked in the protocol.
right.
So as
Whereas
long as they're
other,
doing that up front,
right.
and they're
So
telling
if
you, look, this is not liquid. You are not getting this back until they unlock it. Like,
right, but
that's fine.
if other platforms, let's say they have 1,000,000 ETH, and they say, okay, we're going to take 100,000 ETH and we're going to stake it. We will never have to get rid of 90% of the ETH on our platform. And they didn't tell people that. They just have a coverage amount. Now those ETH still exist; they're real, but they can't service 90 more than 90% of customers' coins. That is, in my opinion, probably a real risk for at least some exchanges out there. I don't know if it's for Binance. I don't know. I'm just, if he's not giving very clear answers, then why is he not giving very clear answers? Get to the source of the issue, and that would be one of my guesses as to what the source of the issue is. What you cause when you do that is a bank run where people are like, well, screw that. I'm getting mine. I want my ETH before 2024, 20, whatever it's going to come out. And then it's a self fulfilling prophecy, which is the same thing he helped initiate on FTX, which then uncovered a much larger fraud than, what he might have been anticipating in that scenario.
Well, bank runs are fine if you got the reserves, right?
That's exactly. That's right. It's fine. A crypto exchange that's
Even
doing
like Tether taught us this in 2018, as did Binance a little bit the other day when we saw 6 billion in outflows, right? Like they didn't have
right.
to close withdrawals. They paused USDC for like an hour or something.
And to
But
be fair, Gemini, outside of their Gemini Earn program, which is opt-in, like Gemini itself did the same thing, right? Like they had a massive bank run. I mean, lost a ton of their assets and worked fine because unless you were in Gemini Earn, which that money's wrecked, sorry, but if you didn't opt into Gemini Earn, then a bank run has no problem.
right.
And I think Binance is probably fine. I think somebody's trolling a little bit about that, but um, I think Binance is healthy and fine, just like CZ's saying. What he's not saying is what worries you if you're.
Well, I'm not going to stand here and defend Binance. Like, I'm not going to
Of
pull a
course not.
Roger Ver and say everything is fine at Mt. Gox, right? We're not going to go that far. But the same thing with Tether. I would never defend Tether and say like, oh, they're absolutely 100% clean. Like, use them. If you don't trust them, don't use them, right? Like the same thing with any exchange, whatever, right? We don't know everything that's going on behind the scenes.
The proof is in the pudding. The proof is in the pudding. What happens when you have the bank run?
Yeah. And so far they've done okay.
Yeah. Somebody was repeating a Warren Buffett quote recently where I guess he said, when the tide goes out, you see who's not wearing any pants or something like that.
Yeah. One thing I didn't like on the reserves of Binance, similar to FTX, they do have a considerable amount of BNB in their reserves, which makes sense for any exchange with an exchange token.
Yeah.
It's certainly not as egregious as FTX was. But, looking at that chart, that thing looks pretty top heavy at the moment.
BNB.
BNB, yeah.
BNB. I'll watch
And it did, again, it's like if you look at Sol and the Sol ecosystem and what happened in 2021 and 2022 relative to BTC, relative to ETH, and how Sam was sort of selling, or Alameda, whoever, taking user assets, selling them to buy Sol stuff, right? I'm not saying that's happening with BNB. I'm not even insinuating it's happening with BNB, but you got to wonder, right? Like, you got to wonder. I do think it really held us down, BTC and ETH, as far as going higher in the bull run.
BNB did?
No. Sam and selling.
Oh, Sam,
user
absolutely.
assets.
Yeah, that rehypothecation, yeah, absolutely, no doubt about it.
Yeah.
If you end up a bunch of people think they have Bitcoin and then they don't, it means the Bitcoin was sold to do other things.
Exactly. They were shorting BTC and buying other shit.
That's right.
Is that the BNB chart?
It is. Do you take this trade, Josh?
I mean, there's a ton of reversal patterns on that. There's a inverted Adam and Eve. There's an inverted cup and handle. There's a head and shoulders at the top there.
Yeah.
I just, I would love to see BNB go down and the exchange be fine. That's ultimately telling you everything's okay, because then they're not, buying BNB with user assets or something ridiculous, right?
Looking at this chart and saying, I want to take this trade does not mean that you are rooting against Binance the chain.
No, I want them to be fine. I want them to be completely fine, and I want them to be under stress and, anti-fragile. I don't want them to explode.
Yeah. Anti-fragile is good. It would be very disappointing. And I mean, it'd be like a double nuclear winter if Binance wasn't fine, and CZ shakes the tree falls down, then their tree also falls down. Oh, that would suck.
I'm thinking in retrospect, like, what could be a sign? One of the signs would be like them forcing BUSD on their exchange. But BUSD is, fully backed as far as anybody could tell. So I don't know. They'd have to be doing some pretty shady stuff on the back end.
Yeah.
But
so this is a weekly chart. A huge amount of their markup occurred in like 3 weeks in 2021. I mean, that took it from $45 to $350. And then it eventually got all the way to almost $700. And this was a strong token back in 2017 as well. Like, very strong.
That whole period makes sense if you think about like the Binance Smart Chain ecosystem and all of the ICOs effectively that they were releasing.
And the new all-time high that it made and all that kind of stuff. I mean, there was lots of good reasons.
It still looks a little bit oversized.
Ridiculous.
Yeah.
It looks ridiculous. It looks like the type of it reminds me of Tesla.
Which is wrecked, isn't it?
Well, it's also trying to yeah. I tried buying a put spread on this the other day and my order didn't go through.
Oof, that chart, man.
Mm-hmm.
That does not look good.
I've been pointing at this one ever since it was, that head and shoulders. I drew that exact same thing I had on Binance BNB just now. I had it drawn on this, and it looks like it wants to play it out. I mean, there is some congestion here that it could, people could like try to dump, do a bunch of shorts now and end up getting squeezed out of them. But Elon Musk is selling billions of Tesla still. He sold like 3.5 billion or something. And
it reminds me of any like ICO where it's like, yeah, guys, well, we believe in the long term, as they're selling their whole treasury.
I tweeted about this the other day.
I think the 2-year, we talk about the 2-year moving average multiplier on BTC a lot. I think the 2-year moving average multiplier for Tesla actually did play out as well for those who enjoy multi-asset back testing. Let me just pull it up on my screen. Hold on.
It's going to take me a while to find this, but basically that report of Elon Musk selling all these billions was the same time he was telling someone else to be patient.
Right. That's exactly what I said. He's like, yeah, guys, everything's going to be fine long term. Zoom out. Yeah, so on the weekly, whatever this moving average is a multiplier. It's been screaming on this thing for a while now. The bottom is somewhere around 100.
Yeah.
So yeah, it makes sense. It's pulling back, Things I'm watching into 2023 are definitely the DXY, which we touched on. Definitely inflation. Trueflation, by the way, that dashboard is great for anybody not aware. It's below 6% now, which is a good sign. I don't really know anything else. BTC Cloud. I mean, if we get back above the cloud on the daily for Bitcoin,
back above the cloud,
that would be great. We've been below the entire year, literally the entire year.
The rejection was right off the Keisha as well on the daily. Just continue the trend.
So
I mean,
we
this
got time.
entire trend is like, even if you ignore my goofy little curved lines, like that's a nasty downtrend that Bitcoin's been under.
Yeah, it had 2 opportunities with the edge to edge, both failed, which is pretty rare on the daily. But Cloud hasn't been wrong.
What do you think about ETH BTC? Nothing new, or do you think it actually is starting to look a little weaker?
No, I think fundamentally it's fine. Technically, as long as it stays at this level, I think it could do well. I think Q2 is going to be when things start to turn the corner, if they do, because then you're going to start to see more pressure on the Fed by people saying, look, we got to bring rates down, or we got to hold here longer, or whatever it is. I keep bringing up the Fed, but that's just like, that's everything right now.
That's how it is.
But yeah, I like the level though.
The 30-year still doesn't look like it's in a real reversal. I mean, it looks weak.
Well, back to BTC, I would love for ETH BTC to not go to 0.1, but I think it's inevitable.
Yeah, I think that's a good trade.
I don't want the ETH people to win. They don't deserve to win. I want them to lose. I especially I was thinking about this yesterday.
Do Bitcoiners really deserve to win either, Josh?
Yeah, we do.
Nobody.
It was a fair launch. It was lightning in a bottle, and everything else is an unregistered security. Anyway, I was thinking about this the other day. Everyone's like, ETH this, ETH that, ETH is going to outperform. It's like, if that's true, then why touch any other token? If you think ETH is, that includes anything on ETH, right? Any projects on ETH.
Yeah, unless you think there's potential for temporary outperformance.
Right, obviously.
If you're looking in a long-term lens, then I agree with you. Like, my personal desire is to primarily be exposed to ETH. I don't know. I'm with you. That said, I mean, if this falls, if there's a dominance run or of some sort for Bitcoin, like there's a potential for a 40 or 50% move on a relative basis down, the same way that there's potential for a significant move up. But my bet would still be on up for ETH relative to Bitcoin over enough time.
Yeah, I don't have a great read on anything right now, but BTC definitely in the downtrend still. ETH, BTC neutral to bullish. ETH just kind of chopping around.
What I want to see is if this dollar doesn't do any more than just bounce around sideways. Like if it gets over like 106, I'd be pretty worried. And if it stays in its downtrend, that'd be very bullish for other things. But I still feel like we have to pay attention to dollar, have to pay attention to the rates, and just kind of see what happens. And I think overall, like, we'll just be able to take it slow. I don't think anything super exciting. I don't think you're in a rush that you have to FOMO, blah blah blah.
We probably have some regulation coming eventually.
Next year. I think there's plenty of opportunity to get regulated. There's bills coming out left and right that don't make any sense. I hope that the people who are logical will win out in that realm, but I don't know that they will. So just more time to be patient. Yeah. I feel like this week is in legacy markets. All that selling is probably people just banking their losses and going on vacation the rest of the year. And maybe you'll have some low liquidity upside for the last couple weeks.
Yeah, I mean, it's tax loss harvesting. I don't think many people are getting bonuses this year. So
yeah, so why Yes. So bank the lost, harvest it, be done with it, come back next year.
Yeah.
So maybe that it means that there's some flat or up opportunity over the next couple of weeks for the people who are still left.
Okay, these are the two most important things: SPX on the 200 daily moving average, and the cloud on the Bitcoin daily chart. Until we're above those things, like, it's down or flat. I think that's just it. Like,
Yeah.
there's not much else to it.
And for the cloud, you can point both the cloud and the 200-day moving average are going to agree pretty much in terms of trend following there. And for the S&P,
the thing is though, like you have to being prepared for that to flip. Like you have to be ready to take action when it does.
Yeah.
Right. You can't just sit here and look at it for weeks and months, knowing like what should happen at that level, and then do nothing when it does flip. Because it's easy to just sit in like this bearish complacency where it's like, yes, everything's bad. Every aspect of every part of everyone's life is terrible, blah, 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 right? But eventually the sucker's going to bottom and we're going to be there for it.
Yeah. Sounds good. Been told I'm on the wrong stream, but I don't think they're right. Are we on the Ledger Sash stream?
I just show up, I talk at the screen, and I hope people are listening. That's about it.
Yeah. Well, I hope everybody has a Merry Christmas if we don't see you before then. Josh, it's good talking to you.
Talking to you.
Take it easy, everybody. Bye.
Monuments crumble in the blink of an eye. The easy river has just run dry. In a house of cards, I feel the breeze wound so tight I can barely breathe. Oh, the change